If you're an artist over 50 and slow sales, social media comparison, and quiet self-doubt are making you feel tired and doubtful, and you're secretly afraid that you're going to have to do this alone, don't give up your art dreams. You open your phone and you see other artists racing ahead, and you get that drop in your stomach, and you think to yourself, what if I'm wasting these really great creative years? The real problem isn't your age, your talent, or your discipline. The problem is that you haven't had enough emotional support around you or safety as an artist. Imagine walking into your studio and feeling calm, supported, and quietly sure that your art and your income can grow at your own pace. In this video, we'll look at the kinds of ways we can build that support and that community without burning out. Everything is simple and realistic and designed for the season of life that you're currently in. You'll discover why your current habits might be silently draining your courage, how tiny mindset shifts can flip a bad studio day, and how to map an inner circle that really has your back when rejection hits or sales dip. I care about this because I've watched too many fantastic 50+ artists talk themselves out of their own potential, not because they weren't good enough, but because they were trying to do it in isolation. You deserve better support than that, and it's absolutely possible to create it. By the end of this video, you'll have a gentle but concrete plan for feeling less alone, steadier inside, and more able to show up to sell your work, especially on the hard days. This is step 6, building community and confidence in my 7-step plan for artistic success. In step 5, staying organized and sustainable, we focused on your time and your energy. We looked at rhythms and systems so that your days have some structure and your art has a safe place during your week. Now in step 6, we're looking at the emotional, mental, and relational side of your art business. We'll look at how to speak to yourself, how to recover from setbacks, who you lean on when things get hard, how you stay connected to your own courage, and how you build a community of like-minded people that share your love of the creative life. When this step is done, step 7, which is setting up your art business properly, feels much more doable. Strong mindset and community make it easier to set up structures like contracts, taxes, and policies because you feel more grounded, supported, and professional as you do it. Confidence and community are like the soft foundations that make the hard foundations possible. Why confidence and community matter to your art business and your creative life. A sustainable income earning art business isn't just about talent or good marketing. It's about who you become and how you support yourself along the way. If your confidence is fragile and you feel alone, then it's much more difficult to show up consistently, to finish pieces and actually share them, handle rejection, slow sales, or awkward feedback, and to sit in those uncomfortable money conversations. When we build inner confidence and real resilience, we're much more able to keep your studio dates even when you're having doubts, finish work and say that's good enough to release, treat rejection and slow seasons as information and not as failure, and talk about your value and your prices without falling apart inside. This step is becoming the kind of artist who can stay in the business for the long term, an artist who looks after their nervous system, who chooses boundaries around social media and comparison, has a creative crisis plan for hard days, and knows who in their inner and in their outer circle will support them. And I want to say clearly that needing support does not mean you're weak. It means you care about your art and that you're human. Here's some guided prompts that we can work through together to get you thinking about this area. In the workbook that you'll find linked in the description below, you'll find a whole list of questions and prompts. Here though, we're going to go through just a few key ones. Feel free to pause the video when you need to so that you can jot down your own thoughts, or you can think about them as we go through the video. Support and connection. Let's start with your people. Who is my inner circle? The people I can be honest with about my art, my fears, and even my money worries. Who belongs in my outer circle? Kind supporters I enjoy, but who don't need access to my most tender thoughts. Where do I currently find creative community, and how do I feel afterwards? More energized or more drained? As you think about these, notice any gaps and also notice any support you already have that you may be overlooking. Mindset and emotional resilience. This is about how you talk to yourself when nobody else is listening. What are the 3 most common stories my inner critic tells me about my art or my business? Where am I most likely to fall into comparison, and what boundaries could I actually put in place to protect me there? Which moments from the past year prove that I am more resilient than I think? Let yourself be honest. You're not judging your answers, you're just gathering information about what's going on inside. Body and energy. Your body is the home your creativity lives in. We can't ignore it. What does it feel like in my body when I'm close to burnout? What are my earliest warning signs? How does my creativity flow on days when I'm rested, hydrated, and have moved my body a little? What simple nervous system practices like slow breathing, stretching, or stepping outside actually help me reset? You might even place a hand on your chest or belly right now and notice how your body is feeling listening to this. No fixing, just noticing. Growth and learning. At 50 and beyond, growth doesn't mean you need to keep pushing. It can be gentle and focused. Where do I feel most confident in my art or business right now? And where do I feel underskilled? What one skill or area of knowledge would make the biggest difference to my confidence over the next year? What style of learning suits my current energy and life? Short courses, one-to-one support, books, or podcasts? Let this guide what you choose to invest in so you're not just randomly signing up for things out of panic or fear of missing out. Reflection and celebration. We often skip this, especially if we're used to being responsible for everybody else. What small wins from the last 3 months deserve recognition right now? How do I currently mark milestones and how would I like to mark them? What would my 80-year-old artist self thank me for starting or continuing today? Even just saying a quiet, "Well done me," out loud is a start. Now let's turn these reflections into simple and repeatable systems you can actually live with. I'll group these actions into 4 areas: mindset actions, support actions, body and energy actions, growth and celebration actions. You don't have to do all of these. Think of them as a menu. Pick 1 or 2 in each areas that feel most comfortable to you. So, number 1, support actions. Create an inner and outer circle map. This becomes your visual system for support. When something happens, like a rejection email or a difficult comment, or even a small win that you'd like to share, you know exactly who to turn to. Number 2, write a simple support plan. On one page, list who you can contact, how often you'd like to connect, and what you might ask for: listening, practical advice, encouragement, accountability. It might sound formal, but this list actually reduces anxiety. When something happens, you're not scrambling, you've got a plan. And number 3 is to have an art buddy or a mini circle. Invite 1 to 3 like-minded creatives, people who share your love for the creative life, to meet regularly. Maybe it's a monthly Zoom or a coffee every 6 weeks. Everyone gets a few minutes to share a win, a challenge, and one thing they'll focus on next. This kind of community is better if it's not too large. A small, safe circle can be incredibly powerful in making you feel seen and heard. And number 4 is to build a confidence file or a praise folder. Start collecting screenshots of kind messages, testimonials, photos of your work in homes or galleries, and notes from people who love your art. Keep them in a physical folder or a digital album. On days when your inner critic is especially loud, open this folder. It's real-world proof that people love your work and have been moved by what it is that you create. Step 5 is to create a daily or weekly mindset ritual. Choose something tiny: 3 lines of journaling, a short breathing practice, 3 things you're grateful for, or reading 1 encouraging paragraph. Attach it to a habit you already have, like your morning coffee or opening your studio door. Over time, this becomes a signal to your brain. It says, we're safe and we're able to create. Suggestion 6 is to write a creative crisis plan. On very hard days, your thinking brain goes offline and everything feels dramatic and final. When you're relatively calm, write a page with the title, "For When I Want to Quit." Include who to contact, what not to do, like don't delete my website, don't slash my prices in a panic, 1 or 2 grounding activities, and a reminder for why your art matters. This is a self-compassionate system that stops you from making big mistakes when small, painful moments happen. Suggestion 7 is to create a social media boundary plan. Social media can be beautiful and brutal at the same time. Decide ahead of time which platforms you'll use, when you'll log in, for how long, and what you'll do there. Maybe it's Post, reply to comments for 10 minutes, then log off. Maybe it's one screen-free day a week. This is something you would have already thought about and defined to a large extent in your marketing power hour. What's most important is to turn your social media from being a judge and jury to a tool you'll actually use to benefit your business. Suggestion 8 is to set a body care baseline. Write down a few minimums that feel realistic: a rough sleep window, a simple movement practice like a 10-minute walk or stretch, and a reminder to drink water during your studio time. We're not aiming for perfect wellness. What we want is your nervous system to not feel frazzled. Suggestion 9 is to create a creative first aid kit. Put together a small kit for hard days, a playlist, a favorite tea, a grounding practice, one page from your confidence file, maybe a comforting object. Keep it near your workspace. When you feel overwhelmed, reach for this first aid kit before you reach for your phone or you decide to scrap everything. It's a practical way of saying, I knew these days would come and I'm prepared for them. After a show, market, or big online launch, your system is often flooded. When you plan a big event, schedule recovery at the same time: a slow morning the next day, a walk with a friend, a nap, or a favorite meal. This helps you avoid the crash that can make you question everything, and it makes big efforts more sustainable long term. Suggestion 11, invest gently in growth. Choose one area to grow in over the next 3 to 6 months. Maybe marketing, writing about your work, or a specific art skill. Pick one course, one book, or one mentor. That's it. Focus beats frenzy. You're building depth in one place instead of scattering your energy everywhere. And suggestion 12, practice saying no with grace. Write down a few sentences you can use when an opportunity doesn't fit, like, thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm focusing on my current commitments right now. This protects your time and energy so you can say a bigger yes to the work and people that matter most. Suggestion 13, monthly reflection and celebration ritual. Once a month, sit down with your notebook or sketchbook and ask, what did I create? What did I learn? What was hard? What am I proud of? Mark the moment, maybe with a candle, a photo, or a tiny treat. This anchors your identity as a working artist. You start to see yourself not through one good or bad week, but through the arc of your efforts over time. Suggestion 14, create a visual growth board. On a board or large page, paste images and words that represent the creative life and business you're building. Steady, well-paid, connected, brave. Add photos of your work and spaces you'd like to be shown in. This isn't a perfection board, it's a visual reminder of where you're heading on days when your path feels blurry. And suggestion 15, add professional support to your plan. Make a short list of professionals who you could reach out to if you needed: a therapist, doctor, coach, or mentor. You're not committing to working with them yet, you're just creating a tiny directory for your future self. Reaching for professional support is a sign of seriousness about your art and your well-being. It's you saying, I'm worth looking after. I invite you to choose 1 to 3 of these actions over the next week that feel comfortable and doable for you. Let those become part of your rhythm and trust that you can add more over time. If this has resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. In the comments below, add one action that you're going to take today or this week. Remember, you're not behind and you're not alone, and I'm right here with you. We're looking at the modal. What is modal? No, it's fine. Not a sustainable art. A sustainable... what am I trying to say here? What am I trying to say? There's no rush. When you're relatively calm, write a page with the title, For When I Want to Quit.